The Updated Lines Project is a new approach from peer mediation to help spread awareness for issues that people have and to help other people know that they're not alone. To do this, we have 8 different color ribbons to help show self-harm, anxiety, eating disorder, depression, LGBT+, abuse, and bullying, and anybody who wants to support anybody.
Hi, my name is Olivia Carmody. I am a Grand Blanc High School student. I'm a sophomore. And I am a sister to my brother Jonathan Carmody. He's a senior. And I'm a daughter to my mom and dad, Chris and Charlie Carmody. And today I wanted to share my story with you. As a young child, I never remembered much, but I remembered key moments in my life were with my dad, was especially when he taught me how to play ball in my backyard of all places, and he was there for all my recitals for piano and dance, and he was always a big support. He was always behind my back, and he was my best friend. On March 29th, 2017, I woke up like it was an everyday 8th grade. It was pretty much normal for me until I got the call about, I want to say around 7:30 in the morning. And it was to my mom, and it was a high school number because you can see it was a 591. And we went into the car in a panic, and at that point I thought it was just my dad passed out from like not taking his insulin or not having like low blood sugar or I thought it was just a minor injury. We got up to the school, and I met my brother at the front of the building, and we both didn't know what was going on, and we started to become panicked, and eventually hopped into a car and went off to Genesis, and I passed by his emergency room, and the CPR machine was running on him. They were trying to pump his heart back to life, and it was probably the hardest thing I've ever seen. So they escorted us. They asked us if I wanted to stay in the emergency room with him or if we wanted to go to the family room, and we decided to go to the family room because it was a little dramatic for us at the time. So we waited in there for what seemed like hours on end, just sitting together, holding our hands and like praying and hoping that he would come back. And within probably about 20 minutes, the doctor came in and said, we're gonna try for another 15 to 20 minutes and see if he'll come back. After that, we stopped trying. We sat there and waited for a while, and she came back in, and the first 2 words that I heard was, "I'm sorry." And that was the hardest I've ever cried. My mom's ever cried. I felt everything drain out of me, and I didn't know what to do. It's like I felt all the energy just kind of leave my body, and all the happiness just kind of left, and I didn't know how to react and how to cope with everything. And it was harder later that day, especially with my family, because not my entire family was there when we were there, so it was hard coming up to my family and just saying, he's gone, he's not coming back. And then later at the funeral and all the visitations and stuff and everything like that. But now it's been 2 years since he passed, and I've learned so much from that, and he's just been a huge role model, and he has so much zest in his life, and he lived every day to the fullest, and unfortunately he died where he loved. He died in school. He was so happy being here, and he was just a great influence in my life, and I'm so glad that I could be his daughter. I'm glad I was his daughter.
I'm Alison Anderson. I'm a senior here at Grand Blanc, and I've been struggling with depression really since middle school, but it got bad when I moved after 8th grade to my new school, and I was bullied there, and I could take it at school, but I would come home and I'd have to deal with it at home too. And after a while, I started to believe the things I heard, that I was fat, I'd never have any friends, I'd be alone. And it took a toll on me, and I didn't know how to cope with it. So I coped with it in what is now, I realized wasn't the healthy way. I started cutting, and I'd fat shame myself. I wouldn't eat a lot. And that went on until this year. Around December, I decided to get help. And I took myself to the hospital against my family's, like, they didn't know because they never really wanted to help. So I took myself there, and I got into therapy, and I've been going to therapy since December. And I'm doing better now. I still struggle with not being nice to myself, but I have stopped cutting, which I'm really happy about. I can now say that I'm in a better place. I will deal with this the rest of my life, but it's a fight that I'm willing to fight now. And I just wanted to say to anyone out there that's also struggling with this that you are beautiful, and the truest love that you'll ever find is the love that you have for yourself. Just keep fighting and you'll get there one day.
Hello, my name's Ethan Eggert. I am a junior at Grand Blanc High School. I want to tell a story about how I've come to where I am. As a kid, I really grew up like everyone else. I was happy. I had lots of friends. No one really judged me. Then when I was about 6 or 7, I was diagnosed with Asperger's. It's a form of autism. And as people started figuring out that I started getting bullied, it really kicked up in 5th grade when all but 7 kids in my class started teasing me, punching me, different kinds of things. Like, they take away my stuff and then just throw it across the room to keep it from me. I continued on until about 8th grade when I moved here to Grand Blanc. And then nobody really paid attention to me. I was just another kid in the crowd. I kind of kept to myself. Made a few new friends I still have to this day. But at about, say, the April of 8th grade, I started feeling depressed. Everything sort of kind of caught up with me. I couldn't quite control the fact that I was remembering how much I missed my friends from my old school, and that brought back the memories of being bullied, and then that sort of just led to me being shy around new people, not really trusting. I started having ear problems. I was getting anxious about said problems, and the fact that I knew that no matter what, nobody was really ever going to accept me. Then about 9th grade, I started making new friends. Depression sort of went down. 10th grade came. Depression and anxiety started kicking its way back up into my life, and I started talking to friends about it, started talking to my family about it, sort of informed them of what had been going on in my life in earlier years, and then what was going on now, so that way they could at least know to help. I met a friend who was in the same place as me. I helped them out as much as I could. They're in a better place now in their mental state and their physical state, and so am I because of it. I truly found out that year that the way that I could feel like I wasn't worthless, that I was accepted, was when I helped other people feel the same way. There was really nothing that could stop me at that point. I started just trying to see what was wrong when any of my friends came to school looking a bit upset. The 10th grade went, as I've said, and then 11th grade so far has been easy. I've been kind of sad because friends are moving away. People are feeling better, thankfully, but I just wanted to say that this year has really made me feel like I found a family here at GB, and I was happy that I was moved here.
My name's Emma Rauthus. I'm a senior here at Grand Blanc High School, and this is just part of my story. If you looked at me, you probably would never have guessed that I've dealt with depression and an eating disorder for about 2 years. It started when I was a sophomore, and I didn't go here at the time. I went to a much smaller school, and in size, with that being a smaller school, I didn't have a lot of friends or people I could really turn to or talk to about really anything. And that's kind of when the loneliness started to just set in for me. And I kind of felt that And just over time, slowly, it just turned into this depression. And I remember my mom, she was like, you know, why aren't you happy? You're almost always smiling. You haven't been lately. And just in that too, I noticed that I also just started to just eat less because I was so just genuinely sad and didn't enjoy life like a normal person or teenager really could. And going to the doctor and hearing the words of, you should go talk to somebody, but I also want to diagnose you with bulimia nervosa, was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to hear in my life. And just hearing that, usually, you know, you'd think that it would make you feel better, but for me it really didn't. It just kind of made me feel like a failure, like I've gotten myself to this point, like how did I do that? Like I must just suck as a human being, you know, it's all just terrible and awful. And that's when it started to just get really, really bad, where I just wouldn't talk to anybody. I would like never be on my phone because I was like, oh, I have no friends, like I have nobody to talk to, there's nothing to do, there's no point in doing it if I even did anything. And I would look at myself and I just hated everything that I saw in myself, from my face to my body. And I would like restrict myself from eating, and if I did eat, I would have, in my mind, I would mentally track like how I could make up for it so I could just get to the lowest number of calorie intake per day as possible. And as a result of that, I ended up losing 30 pounds in about 2.5 months from just not eating. And it was my lowest point along with my depression. It's really terrible to wear the same clothes to school that you wear to bed for 2-3 weeks at a time and not have the motivation to even take care of yourself, like brush your teeth or take a shower or do your hair, and you just leave it up until you shower, and then it just goes right back up on the off chance that you do. And it's literally the hardest thing to just literally roll out of bed, go to school, and wake up, and then immediately just go right back to bed until you wake up the next morning. And it just really sucked for a really long time, until my mom was just kind of like, I know you're struggling, like you're gonna get help. And you know, usually people talk about therapy and like it's either good or it's bad. For me, it ended up being really, really beneficial and helpful. So to anybody who has doubts about that or is scared, like don't be scared. There's people out here, they may not be therapists, they can be friends or family members that are here to help you, and they want you to get better because they love you and they care about you. And, you know, I just want to use that to help other people who might be dealing with the same thing, because it sounds cliche and I know a lot of people say it, but you're not alone, and it's not just you in this fight. There are people who love you and care about you and want to help you and see you succeed, because nobody deserves to go through that, whatever form it might be. But I just want you to know, if you take away anything, like you will be okay.
So we hope that these people's stories help make everyone want to help more with the project and just show that you care for everyone else at this school. Peer mediators will be at all lunches next Wednesday, May 1st and Thursday, May 2nd with the line ribbons to pass out if you want one and show that you want to support your fellow classmates.